Yeah.
Okay. I wrote this 2 years ago after the church in Fountainville burned down and I needed someplace to go to do open mics. I ventured into the big city and I thought they'd accept my poetry, but they tolerated it, but I found Brian there, so that's good. So now we're at Dorn Space.
That's a blessing.
So I wrote this poem about them, spreading my wings, not about finding Brian, but going to all the different open mics. This year I've been trying some brand new things. I've been expanding my horizons and spreading my wings. I've been sharing my poetry under new constellations, hoping to unleash a major rhyming celebration. I've had the heart of a poet since I was a little girl, a rhyming, ranting spirit to carry me through this world. I have my crazy poet's mind, and I've published my many books with a spectrum of rainbow covers, and I want the people to look. You won't hear my books on Kindle. That's one place they'll never be. A book is not a book unless it's something you can see. Something real and tangible that you can carry in your hand. Something real to look at and visually understand. I wanted to be noticed, so I wished upon a star, hoping to recite my poetry at venues near and far. I want to trigger some long-lasting and serious retrospection from any fans of my poetry and of my colorful collection. One of my books is teaching first graders in Dowsville Elementary School. The school purchased 75 copies, and I think that's really cool. Perhaps 100 years from now, when I am but a memory, the legendary poets of the past will include a poet like me. My mind works in the strangest ways. It's been that way for years. I've never tried to fight it. It's a trait that I hold dear. Give me a word from A to Z, and I can make it rhyme. From applewood to zebra stripes, I can do it almost every time. I know the Pope or the Dalai Lama, will never read my books. A rabbi or a Rinpoche won't care to take a look. But ordinary, everyday people might enjoy the things I write. My friends and family members like my words, so other people might. I put my creative thoughts on paper just any way I please. I just go with the flow and write it all down and dot my I's and cross my T's. My poems don't please everyone. That's a highly impossible task. If my poems bring joy to at least a few, that's all my heart can ask. I don't crave fame or fortune. I'm quite happy with my life. I am a poet and a sister and a mother and a wife. I don't need to wear a crown. I don't want to be a queen. I need some open mics where I can be heard and seen. I have feelings deep inside of me that I've written into words. My poetic journey won't be complete until they've all been heard. My mind keeps working overtime, sometimes deep into the night. My creative side fills my heart and soul with subliminal delight. Thank you. Am I lined up okay with this mic? Can you all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get that for you. So
Well, I just feel like it's in my face and I feel so confined here. Yes, like that. Okay.
Better?
If you can hear me okay. Brian loves this poem. He wants me to make it into a book. It's called If Only. If only every person in the world was rich, Sebastian pondered one day. If only money grew on trees, then things could be that way. He thought about it all day long and even went so far as to gaze up at the sky that night and wish upon a shooting star. He considered his wish unselfish and hoped it would come true. No need to work, just time to enjoy all the things we all wished we could do. A money tree in everyone's yard, growing endless money that was real. No need for hunger or envy or crime, how relieved all the world would feel. Sebastian fell asleep in his bed after midnight, overflowing with anticipation. No need to set his alarm for 5. Tomorrow would start his permanent vacation. He ran to his window in the morning, and he was stunned to actually see, lined up in front of every single house, a flourishing money tree. He turned on the television and tuned into the morning news. Every home in the world had its own money tree. His wish had really come true. He spent that day making spectacular plans to fulfill his private dreams. Every other person on the planet was busy making similar retirement schemes. Sebastian rushed off to the shopping mall to stock up on a million things, food and clothes and traveling supplies, and maybe a few expensive rings. The parking lot was crowded and people were lined up at the doors, but the signs in the windows all said closed and there were no open stores. Disappointed, he went back to his car and headed for the nearest gas station. He would fill up his tank and shop along the way. He really needed this vacation. But Sebastian couldn't get any gas for his trip, The pumps were all shut down. Feeling annoyed and puzzled by now, he drove off to a nearby town. He noticed laughing children everywhere, all engaged in happy play. He thought it was rather strange that they were not in school that day. He reached and turned on his car radio to listen to some upbeat songs, but every station was filled with static. Something was terribly wrong. Driving past a hospital, the empty parking lots were a big surprise. All of these things ran through Sebastian's head and made him realize it was not a good thing at all that no one had to work anymore. No doctors, no teachers, no policemen, and no clerks in any store. Sebastian managed to drive back home before his gas gauge registered E. He walked sullenly into his house, right past that money tree. If only this was just a bad dream, is the last thing Sebastian said before he put his pajamas on and crawled back into bed.
Hold on, buddy. Do one thing before.
So what are you trying to say about that money tree thing?
We can't all be rich, just a couple of us.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Just the queen on the front.
That's right.
That's right.
Ready?
Yeah.
Almost there. A precious baby is growing in her mother's womb. Her parents' joy is beyond compare. The expectant mother goes into labor and tells her husband, "Honey, we're almost there." Off to the maternity ward they rush. Anticipation fills their hearts. Out of the womb and into her mother's arms. Now her wonderful new adventure starts. A year goes by and the little girl takes her first step, as her parents watch with tender care. One step, then another, and finally a third. Her daddy says, "Baby, you're almost there." The years go by and the little girl grows, and her parents just love her so. In the blink of an eye, she's ready for kindergarten. Honey, it's off to school you go. Her parents watch and wonder as their daughter grows. It's plain to see they are a proud and loving pair. The years fly by, and her graduation day arrives, and she whispers to herself, "I'm almost there." She goes off to college, she gets her first job, this young woman who is fully grown. She makes some good friends and some beautiful memories, then she meets a young man of her own. A courtship, an engagement, a wedding, all on a wing and a prayer. As she walks down the aisle toward her husband-to-be, she whispers, "Sweetheart, I'm almost there." She had learned from her parents the meaning of love, which she carries into her own life. A new home, a new marriage, a new beginning for the brand new husband and wife. Time marches on, and a few short years later, the couple has some happy news to share. As they head out the door to the maternity room, she whispers, "Baby, we're almost there." Thank you. Laura, I'm off the stage now.
You're not quite off this thing.
Well, she wanted me to let her know what I was doing.
You know what you say.
When you hear a crash, you'll know I'm off the stage.